What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today's video is kind of different. So what we're doing today is I've prepared a presentation on what I feel the Marvel Cinematic Universe would look like if they never sold any of their character rights. Basically, if they had their entire toy box to play with from day one. This is a 4-part series releasing every other Sunday. Today is focusing on phase 1. So I think it's going to come to as a shock to absolutely nobody that with the entire Marvel Comics universe, Spider-Man would be the first film. So here's how it's formatted. So you can see here the film number, title, and then the description, and I'll go into more detail after that. So this film follows Peter Parker and his struggle to balance college and his friends with newfound superpowers. On a school trip to Oscorp Laboratories, Peter Parker is bitten by a radioactive spider which gives him spider-like superpowers. Peter must find a way to balance his school and social life with his new responsibilities as Spider-Man. Oscorp CEO Norman Osborn's latest experiment has gone wrong, turning him into the Green Goblin. It is up to Peter to save the city from this menace. So, characters in this. We've obviously Peter Parker, MJ, Ned, Norman, Harry, Gwen, Aunt May, Uncle Ben, and then Otto Octavius will make a cameo hinting at him later being the villain sometime in phase 2, and there's a second one. So this film starts, Peter is already in college, and so him and his class go on a trip to Oscorp. While on the tour, he notices one of the radioactive spiders they're experimenting on is missing, and it bites him, giving him superpowers. At first, he doesn't want to use him for anything other than himself, but after both Aunt May and Uncle Ben are killed in a criminal attack, he decides to use his powers to help other people. So then he notices that Gwen is the love interest in this film, but she is killed off by Green Goblin at the end, setting up MJ for the future films. So Norman Osborn is going around the city terrorizing stuff, and then he captures Gwen, leading Peter to go after him to try and save her. So then there's a big final battle. Norman kills Gwen, and then Peter kills Norman. That's the end of this first film. Okay, film number 2 is The Wolverine. So James Logan Howlett is the subject of illegal human experimentations carried out by General William Stryker. As a result of Stryker's latest experiment, codenamed Weapon X, James has ended up with incredible healing, a skeleton made of adamantium, the strongest substance on Earth, and most notably 3 adamantium claws on each hand. James must learn to adapt to these new circumstances to take down Stryker and his crew once and for all. Characters, and as I'm sure you've noticed, I've created posters for each of these hypothetical films. So this is the second shortest character list. So we have Wolverine, Stryker, Kayla Silverfox, who was his love interest in X-Men Origins Wolverine, Sabretooth, which is going to be working with Stryker as the villains, Yukio, Wade Wilson and Charles Xavier are going to both have cameo roles, setting them up for future appearances. So James is a army person, and he's recruited by Stryker to test out all his illegal superhuman experiments. One of them turns him into the Wolverine. So then he goes around killing people, and then it's not until, so he's like not that nice of a person, but then after Stryker kills Kayla, his girlfriend, he decides to become a superhero, taking down killing Stryker and taking down Sabretooth, but he is still alive to be used in future films. So, film number 3, Thor, the God of Thunder. So, this is very different than, it's got some aspects of Thor, but it's very different to start off with. After the death of Odin, the throne of Asgard is to be left to either Thor or his adopted brother Loki. Thor is a noble warrior and wants nothing but peace for Asgard. His adopted brother Loki, on the other hand, only wants to win and rule the kingdom of Asgard. In his quest to win, Loki has endangered the very people he wishes to rule. It's up to Thor to defeat Loki and save the Asgardians. Characters. This is one of the larger casts, so there is Thor, Loki, Odin and Frigga, Odin has a very short role, and Frigga would be kind of like a secondary or third character. Then there's Lady Sif and the Warriors 3, Destroyer, and then the Earth Crew. And I'd like to point out, as I'm sure you can see, the posters aren't perfect, but I tried. Most of them took me about 10-20 minutes. One in particular, it took me like an hour, and I'll tell you which one that is once we get to it. So, you know what? I think these here is enough for the description, so to save time, I'm not gonna be going too deeper. And that's definitely the reason to save time and not only wrote notes for these first 2 movies and not the rest of them. So, film 4, The X-Men. Professor Charles Xavier runs a school for young mutants. Xavier believes that mutants should help and live alongside humans. His lifelong friend and partner, Eric Lensher, or Magneto, wants to wage war against the humans. Xavier must gather his mutants together into the X-Men to stop Magneto and save humanity. Characters in this one says Professor X, Wolverine, Beast, Cyclops, Storm, Jean Grey. These are all going to be the main X-Men team. As you can see here, they're the ones on the poster. Iceman and there was another one. Yeah, Iceman and Quicksilver are going to be like training X-Men during this film. And the villains, Magneto, Sabretooth, as you can see, are turning from the Wolverine. Mystique and Toad is going to be creating the Brotherhood, which is basically evil X-Men. So it's going to be a big fight. I've decided none of these are actually do I have any plans for them? Nope. Okay, they'll kill off Toad, and then these 3 can live. So, moving on to film 5, The Incredible Hulk. After being injected with a lethal dose of gamma radiation, Bruce Banner's life is changed forever. If Bruce gets it all angry. He turns into an out-of-control 8-foot-tall green rage monsters. In efforts to recreate the Hulk, U.S. General Thaddeus Ross accidentally turns Emil Blonsky into the rogue and destructive Abomination. Bruce must learn to control his Hulk persona in order to save the city from Abomination's rampage. Characters, this is one of the shortest list of characters. Bruce Banner / Hulk, Emil Blonsky Abomination, General Ross, Betty Ross, who is Hulk's girlfriend, Samuel Stearns, who will become the leader by the end of this film, and Jennifer Walters. And I don't think there's going to be a She-Hulk show or film in this timeline, because there's so many other more popular characters that if this was real, Marvel would want to make projects on first. I've decided she's gonna be not as She-Hulk form, just as lawyer Jen, a big part of this film. So moving on to film 6. By the way, there's 8 total films in this phase. Captain America, Man Out of Time. World War II Captain Stephen Rogers is frozen in ice and wakes up in the present day. He learns that the Nazi science division, Hydra, is still controlling parts of the world under the rule of the immortal superhuman Red Skull. Steve must adapt to this new world and society in order to free the world from Hydra's rule. This is the poster. It took me like an hour to get this cut down the middle and have war on this side and modern times on this side. So characters are Steve, Red Skull, Peggy, Bucky, Arnhem, Howard Stark, Chester Phillips, and Dr. Abraham Erskine. Unlike Captain America, the first Avenger, like a very small fraction is in World War II, and the majority is him in the present day. So, see, Peggy, Bucky will come back as Winter Soldier eventually. So Peggy, Arnhem, Howard, Chester, and Dr. Abraham Erskine all die of old age in between the time jump in this film. Red Skull has made himself immortal, so he is still alive. So yeah, that's that film. Now, on to one of the films that I maybe should have put a little earlier. The Fantastic Four. Scientists Reed Richards, Sue Storm, Johnny Storm, and Ben Grimm are carrying out experiments on the International Space Station when the station is hit with what seems to be a solar flare, killing everyone except these four. These 4 scientists are left with powers as a result of the incident. The energy surge from the solar flare attracts the Silver Surfer to Earth. The Fantastic Four must team up to stop the Silver Surfer from destroying Earth. Here's the cool concept for the poster I came up with for this one. So, Reed Richards, Sue, Johnny, the Fantastic Four, and then Silver Surfer's the main villain. Gonna have Doctor Doom as a cameo, and then it's gonna be revealed that Silver Surfer is working for Galactus, and he's gonna be the big, out of this entire 4-phase series, he's gonna be like the big main Thanos main bad guy is gonna be Galactus. So that is that, and now on to the one that I had a lot of fun planning. The Avengers. The Fantastic Four encounter Doctor Doom, a new villain, realizing quickly that they are severely underpowered against this new threat. The Fantastic Four go to Nick Fury and S.H.I.E.L.D. for help. Fury and his partner Maria Hill assemble a team of extraordinary heroes to help against Doctor Doom. So, this is the biggest one. So there's Tony Stark, Hank Pym as Ant-Man, Janet Van Dyne as Wasp, Thor, Bruce Banner, Steve Rogers, Carol Danvers, the entire Fantastic Four, Nick Fury, Maria Hill, and Doctor Doom. So you can see here's the poster I came up with. It's got all the characters. You can see there's Ant-Man and Wasp, really small. And I noticed now I did mess up a bit on the layering for Mr. Fantastic, but other than that I got it pretty much good. So that is this part 1 done. So come back in 2 weeks time to see part number 2, or phase 2 of this new alternate